So how many people demonstrated against Geert Wilders' film Fitna in Iran in 2008? The answer is 30.
Bet that surprised you. You're watching Britain's Brightest Daytime Show with Yasmin Brown, Terry Christian and our special guest Nadia Swallow. And she's going to have the rest of today's headlines for you in a little under 10 minutes or so. But first, should the House of Lords screen Geert Wilders' nasty little anti-Muslim film this evening? Actually, I say this evening, it's this morning, it's 11 o'clock. Rightstuff@5.tv is the address for your emails. The film's called Fitna. It was produced by Wilders, a right-wing Dutch MP who famously said there's no such thing as moderate Islam. It's easily viewable online, on YouTube, for example. I've seen it, as have hundreds of thousands of others. And I can tell you that Fitna kind of juxtaposes images of the al-Qaeda attacks on New York, Madrid and London with verses from the Quran. And a year ago, our then Home Secretary, Jackie Smith, I love that photo, she banned Wilders from showing Fitna at the Lords. Indeed, Wilders himself was banned from entering the UK, but that ban, I think, was quite rightly overturned in October, and Wilders paid us a visit, but didn't show the film. But in a little over an hour's time, he will, after being invited by UKIP peer Lord Pearson and the crossbencher Baroness Cox. Here's what Cox had to say about today's visit last night.
There is concerns that are shared, I think, by a lot of people in this country. They need to be aired. They can't be swept under the carpet. So whether I agree or not is another matter. He has an opportunity and should have an opportunity to say what his concerns are.
But I'll say again, with the film so easily available online, is this screening really about freedom of speech, Yasmin?
No, it isn't. It is... You know, we used to bait bears once upon a time. We now bait Muslims. It has become the hobby in the West. I can't
be honest, I mean, I don't think this is restricted to Muslims. I think
no, but that's what... The freedom of speech argument... You know, if they're that serious, then they should also allow some of the rampant imams in parts of the Muslim world who hate Jews and actually make videos about that also into the House of Lords. I cannot write a single sentence on Israel, however carefully I write it, without life turning into hell, without my being disinvited, sometimes even from Parliament, to speak where I'm being invited to speak. There is no freedom.
If the film wasn't available online, OK, and you couldn't see it, would you then say the Lords were right to show it there?
No, because if they... all I want to say is this is particularly targeted at Muslims. I think we have a lot of things about Muslim life and Muslim attitudes we need to discuss. I do it all the time. But this is deliberately to provoke, and a reaction will be provoked because there are crazy Muslims out there who will turn up and behave like bears. And that's what they want. They want to show we cannot belong here. And it really upsets me, that.
Very interesting view you have on the sort of protesters as actually being dragged into this. That's what they want. Just so you know, I think if the film wasn't available online, I would defend the right of the House of Lords to screen it.
Would you defend a really strong anti-Jewish film on the same grounds?
I would defend... If it was made by a democratically elected member of a democratic parliament and a legal party... then I would.
A democratically elected Iranian parliamentarian? Would you?
I actually find this quite objectionable because I think free speech, and it's not whether it offends me, you, or anyone else, free speech is what it means. You know, people like Thomas Jefferson...
What, without
exist. It doesn't exist, and you not never say that.
Let me speak. With all due... You know, I actually would rather go with Thomas Paine and Thomas Jefferson's view than yours. They put a lot of thought into it.
Oh, really?
At the end of the day,
Yasmin,
the right to free speech, and that trumps anyone being offended, I'm afraid.
So, Terry, do you believe that free speech has no limits?
No limits. The only limit is don't shout fire in a crowded theatre. Other than that, no matter how idiotic, no matter how ignorant, no matter... Because the minute you actually... You know, tolerate mob rule, which is what you're talking about.
I'm not talking
because
about
a few
mob
people.
Rule.
Yes, you are.
Why.
I'm telling you because what you're saying is they're picking on this particular special interest group, superstitious group, religious group, whatever, because you think they're going to kick up about it and they're going to, you know, portray.
No, you haven't understood. You do not understand English.
I am telling you, you are not listening to it.
We do not. I never said that.
It's going to be the end of an enlightened, tolerant, pluralist society.
I'll be fair. I think claiming that Yasmin is supporting mob rule is unfair. I don't think she was saying that.
OK, I'll give you the example.
She's saying that the film, that the net effect of the film...
Show it on the BBC one. Show it on the BBC, show it anywhere.
Okay. Anti-Jewish films?
Well, yeah, show them as well. I'm just talking about free speech. I'm not drawing limits or anything like that. We're not talking about individual things.
If you say that, won't the BBC just be filled with hate films?
Let's take the example of, you know, these cartoons, right? The cartoons of Mohammed.
Yeah.
Now, when it's front page news, you want to see those cartoons. And I couldn't believe when they weren't shown. Right. And I thought the only reason they're not being shown is because Danish embassies have been burned, you know, there've been threats made. And so basically it was like gangsterism. It was almost like the tactics of gangsterism won the day, and I thought our democratic society was cheapened and lessened by it.
Just to put a little band-aid over this, I originally felt passionate, and I argued with the bosses at Channel 5 for the right to have an adult discussion about these cartoons and show them on the screen. I believe passionately that we have an audience that's capable of having a discussion without burning buildings down and flags.
I think to show stuff like that is less of an evil.
But I came round to the view that actually freedom of speech requires the limits of respect. And I just want to have a quick word
the limits of respect, as in, I respect your right to hold your opinion, believe what you want. You know, I don't have to actually respect what you believe.
Right.
And that's what it's about.
Time is short. I want the last word to go to Nadia, who we haven't heard on this. What do you think is happening at the House of Lords?
I believe in free speech, and I was thinking, you know, when I was thinking this through last night, I thought, but, you know, it's difficult for me because actually I want this plonker to have a sock shoved in his mouth.
Right.
Because I think, you know, how dare you? And I think Yasmin is right.
By the way, the Telegraph is talking as a future Prime Minister of Holland.
Well, he still needs a sock in his mouth. But, you know, I agree with Yasmin. Could we have a similar film saying anything about the Israelis? I don't think so.
I would say yes, because I don't think it's about what the content is.
But it couldn't happen.
I know, but we're talking a principle here. We're not talking individual cases. Yeah. I say the lesser, you know, I think it's less of an evil to listen to some idiotic opinion or anything else, and it's less dangerous than laws and prohibitions protecting religious and special interests and all the rest of it.
We've got to take a break.
It's not for you to decide
Terry, we've got to take a break. The point we've missed in all of this is whether the House of Lords should be showing a film that's easily available online. What is there to be gained from the House of Lords showing this film? Haven't they got anything better to do with their time?
I think freedom of speech is something which is disappearing from our
freedom
society.
of speech goes to everybody on the panel. They all have the right to speech. We've heard plenty from you, Terry. We're going to draw a line under it there.